Alrighty, so it's been a while since I've done a little mental health update for you guys. For those of you who haven't really been following my channel for a while, I deal with depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. I was in multiple abusive relationships, and that kind of assisted me in developing post-traumatic stress disorder, and I've just dealt with depression and anxiety for a majority of my life. Depression. It's been out of this world, terrible. There have been days and there have been nights when all I want to do is cry myself to sleep. There have been days and there have been nights when I have just wanted to kill myself and get it over with. I do not feel at this point that I would act on those feelings. I've attempted suicide previously, and I don't feel that I would ever attempt suicide again. However, I kind of feel like I never thought that I would ever attempt suicide in the first place. I don't think that anybody ever really thinks that they would attempt suicide. I think that it's just something that people have to learn how to deal with. And I'm not seeing a therapist. I'm not seeing a counselor. I'm not seeing a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I choose to deal with things on my own because I feel like, based on my own personal experiences with therapists, I don't trust them. I had bad experiences with therapists in the past who went back and told my mother everything that I was saying, and so it basically made me lose trust in therapists. Not that I necessarily was trying to keep secrets from my mom, but if you're trying to help a patient build trust in you, that's not the way to do it. Just for anybody who is ever considering working with a therapist or a counselor, psychiatrist, whatever, make sure that it's somebody that you feel like you can trust. If you feel like you can't trust them, then don't continue going to see them. I just feel like with everything that I've had going on with different, family issues with my adoption and having to constantly explain and talk about like why I have half sisters and why I have half brothers and why I never spent like a majority of my childhood with my birth father and the different things that I talked about with a therapist when I was in high school. I just don't feel like me going to a counselor or a social worker or whatever is really for me. So I have been hospitalized in a psych ward before. I've been hospitalized a few times in psych wards before for my post-traumatic stress disorder when I was first being diagnosed with it because I thought that I was hallucinating. I had no idea what was going on because if you have never dealt with post-traumatic stress disorder before, the flashbacks can be very scary. It makes you see things as if you were in that situation sometimes, and it's very, very real when it happens. So it can be very, very traumatic. That's why it is post-traumatic stress disorder. It's just been really, really hard lately, and I feel like, I'm kind of regretting getting off disability now because I kind of feel like I'm not there up here. Even though I know that I'm just second guessing myself and I know that that's not the case, I know that I'm okay. I constantly do this negative self-talk and I know that that's not a good thing and I know that that's not something that I should do and I know that it's not healthy, but it's something that I have always done for a majority of my life. I was bullied, and so being bullied, from a very young age, I developed a negative self-talk because what these bullies would say to me, I would just take what these bullies would say, and then I would take their words and use it on myself. So what they were saying, I would then say to myself. Like if they said, "Robynne, you're so ugly," I would say, you're ugly, you're worthless, you're a piece of crap, all this other stuff. Whatever they would say is what I would tell myself. And so it doesn't really help when you talk to yourself that way. And it definitely doesn't help you progress to a better state of mind. I was recommended to take like Prozac at one point, and I chose not to. In high school, they talked about putting me on medications. My mom told me that she would rather I not, so we didn't do that either. I did take medications at one point for my post-traumatic stress disorder to help me sleep, and that helped, but it made me feel tired all the time, so I don't take those anymore. And honestly, it's been so long since I've taken those, like it's been years since I've taken those, and I haven't seen like a mental health professional in years, so I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. I don't know. Obviously, I can hear people already. You're probably typing, oh, you really need to go see a therapist. You need to go see somebody. It's not healthy to have suicidal thoughts, and it's not healthy to want to die. Obviously, I know that. I've been dealing with depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder for so long that, I'm used to these feelings. I'm used to these thoughts, and I'm used to hearing myself, feel this way and talk this way to myself in my head. It's scary and it gets really overwhelming sometimes, but I just deal with it. I feel like I don't have any other choice. But so yeah, that's kind of a little brief overview of how I'm dealing with everything mentally right now. If you would like to ask a more specific question related to my mental health, feel free to do so in the comments below, and I might answer it. I might not if it's too personal or if I just don't feel like talking about it. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing great, and I will talk to you guys again soon.